I don't know whether Paul Begley has the courage to say what I'm saying, but this blood moon is really a marker for a change in presidency in America. He's saying that this marks the second anniversary of Trump's presidency. But what this timeline shows is a very ominous sign over the time period when a presidential inauguration would usually take place on the 20th of January. Now, I know it's not due in 2019, but this timeline is showing that this is when the blood moon happens over America, all across America, on the evening of the 20th. This sign is a sign of a presidential change. And this presidential change is going to bring forth the re-inauguration of Barack Obama to serve for a third term. The 22nd Amendment is likely to be therefore repealed. And there is obviously the 25th Amendment that could also be actioned. And that's when a president can no longer continue in office, and therefore he can be kind of replaced. And that is really decided upon by the Congress. And this is why it's over America, is because it is showing us a transition that will happen in America that will affect the world. And that change is the presidential change. The rapture actually happens at the twilight, from the change from darkness into light. That is what's known as the morning twilight. In the Old Covenant, they would sacrifice the Passover lambs at the evening twilight, which is when it goes from light into evening. And that's known as like the evening twilight at 6 p.m. And that's why when Jesus gave up his spirit at the ninth hour, during the daytime, it was coming out of the 3 hours of darkness. That's when the 3 hours of darkness ended, and therefore it went back into daytime again. And this is why the resurrection happened at the ninth hour on the 14th day. So whilst we know he was in the tomb for 3 days and 3 nights, you need to bear in mind that the resurrection happened at the ninth hour on the 14th day, when some of the saints of old were raised in their tombs at that moment. The curtain of the temple was torn in two. There was a massive earthquake that happened. That earthquake is the same earthquake that happened on the 17th day when Mary went to the tomb. The reason is because there are two parallels of time, and this is what repels people from wanting to look at this timeline, because they can't make sense of it. And you can't make sense of it in your logical mind, because it's impossible. It's impossible for there to be like this Groundhog Day where the day repeats itself. From 6 p.m. here at the first Passover all the way through to the end, which is 3 a.m., is 33 hours. Jesus remained on earth for 33 years, and he began his ministry when he was 30. Therefore, the 30th hour on this timeline is actually the midnight hour, which is why these last 6 months could bring forth a time of miracles to represent the 3 years of ministry that Jesus was on the earth to do. It's 33 hours, which represents 33 years of Christ's life. And again, reminder, his death brought forth the resurrection at the ninth hour on the 14th day. And the ninth hour of the night is 3 a.m. And Jesus said to Peter that he would deny him 3 times before the rooster crowed twice. Go and read that in the Gospel of Mark. So the first time the rooster crowed was 3 a.m. here, which was the super blood moon in September 2015. Then the second time the rooster would crow is here, when the partial lunar eclipse happens on the 16th of July 2019. So the blood moons are signs for the night watches, and the prenumbral and partial lunar eclipses are signs for the day watches. That's why this one has only got 3 blood moons, because there's only 3 night watches. Therefore, the morning intervenes the night at 3 a.m. early. So 6 a.m. and 3 a.m. happens at the same moment in time, which is why you have darkness and sunrise happening at the same moment in time, which is exactly what happened to Jesus when he was on the cross. It was the 14th day at the ninth hour when it was finishing darkness and it was coming into light. But when Mary went to the tomb, it was morning in the Gospel of Mark, but it was still dark in the Gospel of John. So this is how we do know the day and the hour. And you know, I read an article in the Daily Express talking about Paul Begley's prophecy, and they denied it. They said, you've got nothing to fear. But I would say you do have something to fear, holy fear. It says about Noah that in holy fear, being warned of things to come, he built the ark. So even before he saw the rain coming, Noah built the ark because he was forewarned about what was to come. And in holy fear, he built the ark. Holy fear will make you do right. Another type of fear will make you run away, and that isn't of God. That's your flesh. But holy fear makes you do the right thing, makes you get right with God. It makes you do the right thing. I hope this video has helped you to understand the significance of all the blood moons since 2014 and 15, and even the ones that we've had in 2018 and 19. Inclusive as well of all the three solar eclipses here that we've had, which marks the sign of Jonah. This here, from the 14th day to the 17th day, is the sign of Jonah. This is why the resurrection happened at the ninth hour, because it's also paralleled over with the 17th day, because those three solar eclipses are 3 nights, and therefore we have 3 years being 3 days, and those 3 solar eclipses being 3 nights. And that's why this 4th solar eclipse that's coming up in July 2019 is a sign that the day is about to change. And this is why we know that Jesus was raised on the 3rd day, which has to be at this point on the timeline. So this is another confirmation. There will be no continuance in this timeline. This is it. The final last 6 months of this timeline is the last 3 hours of this timeline, which is also paralleled over with the last 3 years of Jesus's life, which is when his ministry began, and also when he experienced his death and resurrection that was manifested at the same moment in time, because he is the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end. God bless you, everybody. Have a great day.